major programs. Mostly he was on the defensive side of the ball. He was really known for physicality and toughness, and I think most of all known for his discipline. I don't know if some of those tactics that he used would be allowed today, but great coaching career.
He thrown in jail.
And what I love about his career is he spent 1 to 3 years at a lot of different schools, and the reason being was all these successful coaches that a lot of you have heard of, they brought in a coach to fix things. If there was a problem on the defensive side of the ball, whether it be schemes or the players or the coaching staff, he was the guy to come in and fix things. And I know he's going to talk a lot about that today, but he's coached with some of the all-time greats: Frank Beamer at Virginia Tech, Don Nehlen at West Virginia, and Nick Saban at LSU. And on top of all that, he played for Lou Holtz. So just really been around some great coaches. Coached a bunch of NFL players. A bunch of those guys are now NFL coaches that he still has strong relationships. So when we were planning the conference and discussing a keynote speaker to talk about leadership and teamwork, we figured this was the perfect guy. So, Coach.
Appreciate it. Thank you. I believe I still got enough coach's voice left to project. You cannot hear me. Raise your hand. I'll try to be quiet, but I hate microphones. Right? I really appreciate being here. I want to thank Ryan and Kim for giving me this opportunity. This is the first. I usually do this with football coaches, clinics, and talk about tackling and block protection and all that good stuff. And here I am, just, what the hell am I going to tell these people that they don't already know? I'll tell you one thing I'm really impressed with. This is a vibrant group. I feel like I am in a coach's meeting, trust me. This is a bunch of football coaches here. And because you got bright-eyed people here. I don't know if it was the alcohol last night, but everyone was happy. There's reasons they made that alcohol. And that's why coaching particularly. But I do want to thank this opportunity to be here. Probably the big question is who the hell is Phil Almation? And of course, you heard some of the resume, but what do we have in common? Well, like you, we're in the business of winning. There's only two kinds of coaches, not good or bad. One's with jobs and one's without. Those are the only two kinds of coaches. And they're only measured by one thing: winning. That's what you're measured by. However, when you are coaching and you're dealing with players in the organization, okay, it's not, winning stands for what's important now. That was a big Lou Holtz acronym. I played for him, I worked for him. That stuck with me in my whole career, having played for him. When you take winning in sales, winning in what you're doing, okay, use the acronym, what's important now. It's not the end result that you keep your focus on. It's that daily process of getting better, improving. Am I better than I was yesterday? Where's your ceiling? Everyone's got a ceiling. There's a preparation ceiling. There's a production ceiling. Where are you in your ceiling? And everybody strives to get to that top. That's that perfection, which may never be realized, but you got to strive relentless to get there. Every day, right? The number one challenge, the other thing I think we do have in common is embracing all the challenges that go with the business of winning. Because you know it. I mean, talk about problems. I always used to tell people, you want to hear about my problems? No, you don't. I don't want to hear about your problems. And all that, because I keep telling you what this is? World's smallest violin player. And my buddy used to tell me, you can look it up. You want sympathy? He used to tell me, look it up in the dictionary between shit and tears. Okay? But, we all have our challenges. The number one challenge in building a winning football team The number one challenge. What do you think it is from a football perspective? Anybody? Just curious. What's that? That is in the top 10. But that's not the number one. But you're never wrong. Because anything you would answer would be correct. But the number one challenge of developing winning teams is earning trust. Number one. Okay? There's 2 letters in there. And trust needs to be earned. You want to close that sale. You're in that house and recruiting that prospect and the family. You got to earn the trust. And that is a process. With players that you're coaching, the first thing you got to go out and earn is their trust. Where they know you have a genuine caring of what's in their best interest, not yours. So, in that process, I found out at a very young age. I was hired at 23 years old at William & Mary. Jim Root was the head football coach. I played for Lou my junior year. I played for 3 different head coaches. The thing I'm really proud of, I got to work with all 3 of them. Really proud of them. But as far as developing the trust factor, I found out at a young age when I got this job, I had to coach players I played with. Now, they respected me as a player, but boy, they weren't happy about it when I got hired. They were expecting to hire a guy that had some battle scars and could help them. I just got through playing with him. And I had a good friend of mine says, Phil, he said, they respect you, but you got to earn their trust. You better visit with every one of them one-on-one and find out who the bell cow is. I always talk about the bell cow, the leader. That's the first one you meet with. Okay? So the power, the way you earn trust is strength in numbers. It's not the team. To earn trust of a team, it was the power of one-on-one. You got to do it one player at a time. And that's work. Meeting with them. The probing questions. Where? Why did you come here? Where, how, who, when? What teacher had the biggest influence on you? Tell me about your brothers and sisters. What's your relationship with your mom and your dad? Who was ever raising you? And you find out and then all of a sudden, we're not even talking football. I would visit with every player, every job I had, and I was known as a fix-it guy. And the first thing I did, the first day of the job, I made them fill out questionnaires with the probing questions. And then we would start visiting and going over each one of them. Because I genuinely wanted to know. Because you got to earn the license to coach them, to challenge them. Challenge their talent and challenge their decision making, on and off the field. Particularly if there's poor decisions that are involved. And the one way, and if you get their trust, they'll give you the license to do it. And especially with the families. Okay? I had a kid. I recruited my first day on the job in Wisconsin with Barry Alvarez. Barry Alvarez took over a program in Wisconsin. They did not win. They weren't winning. Losing seasons for years. Took it over. In 3 years, he was in the Rose Bowl. 3 years. I got to work for him. We were fired at Boston College because of a gambling scandal in 1996. Barry calls me up and wants to offer me the defensive back job. The worst defensive back in the Big Ten. Worst secondary in the Big Ten. The last in pass defense and a lot of other things. So they hired me and got the job. And the first day, he flips me an old VHS tape and he says, look, I got 4 defensive backs in here this weekend for recruiting. We got 1 scholarship left. You're the DB coach. Make the decision. Now, you talk about trust. I had to make sure I could trust my own eyes of what I'm seeing. I don't care who's offered him. I don't care. Give me his height, his weight. eyes, I have a pretty good eye where I could sit there on film and look at a tape and speculate as how fast he runs. And I was good at it. So I'm looking at all of them, and here's a kid, they're telling me he's 5'11", 180 pounds. He played quarterback, safety, punt return, kickoff. He never leaves the field. His wide receiver got an Ohio State offer. So he's got traffic going in there. The only other school that had offered him was Missouri. I call up the DB coach, John Hope, good friend of mine. I said, Hokie, you're going to take this kid? He goes, I really don't want him. Because he doesn't run fast enough. Runs 4.6. And that's not very good. I think that's fast enough, but one for him. Okay, so, but I'm looking at this film, and I'm looking at this kid making play after play after play after play. I said, well, if he's not a corner, I'll make a safety out of him, because he was a brilliant, he could make decisions on the field. He trusted his coaching. He trusted his talent. You could see it on the film. So I said to myself, we're taking this kid. Now I'm told he's 180 pounds. So the kid comes in with his mom and dad. He's 150 pounds. The wind blew his ass in my mouth. I'm sitting there going, I just got fired. You know, but we took him. But I love what his daddy told me. And again, you know, we sat down with the parents and, you know, just wanted to know everything about him. Everything about it. His dad, Big Charles, this is when you know you got a good player. Because you got good mom and dad, you're going to have a good player. Okay? There's only two kinds of players, problem solvers and problem creators. There's the only two players you got. In your business, you got problem solvers and problem creators, and fire the problem creators. Hire the solvers. People that love it, want that opportunity. Give me the adversity. Coach Schultz had to say, if it's not a crisis, he was going to create one. Because he wanted to see what your response would be to adversity. But we're sitting there with Big Charles, family, and I'm sitting with the parents alone in the office with him, and the daddy said, I have worked my ass off to raise this youngster. He is a good kid. I expect in 4 years for him to be a better person. Now, if he gets out of line and his decisions are not in his best interest, you take your 9.5 and stick it up his ass, and then call me, and I will come up. Well, long and the short was, this kid, we redshirted him. He starts as a redshirt freshman, and 5 interceptions as redshirt freshman. He picked Drew Brees off and opened the game up when we were playing Purdue. He had 2 for touchdowns, one off Drew Brees. In his 3-year career, he had 24 interceptions, 5 for touchdowns. Impressive. First team All-American, won the Thorpe Award, best defensive back in the country. We beat Afghanistan for this kid. I mean, he had one offer and they didn't want him. And so, you know, but earning the trust is a huge factor, and doing it with there's a power in one-on-one. So that's the biggest challenge we would have in coaching and building a winning team. Okay? Because they will give you the license to coach them hard, to get the best out of them. They'll give you that license to do it. If you haven't earned trust, you ain't got the license to do it. Okay? The next challenge in this business of winning was overcoming the adversities that you're going to face. Coach Holtz always used to tell us when I played, he goes, 3 things are going to happen to you in this game. It's not what happens to you in the game, it's how you respond. That's what the great teams do. The great teams have a chemistry because you got two choices when you have adversity. You know, the shit hits the fan. Okay, 2 choices. Positive or negative. You can be positive with the choice, or you can be negative. When you're positive, being positive in a negative situation allows you to focus on the task at hand. You get out of your own skin and into others in a hurry. The negative approach, it's all about you. And woe is me. And oh my God. But the people I always wanted to surround myself with and the players that I picked to play for me were the guys that in practice, because when that practice is tough, college football is tough. It's hard. I tell you, when I played, I about quit every day. Just about every day. And I used to tell players, if you never thought about quitting, you must have played for a very easy program and you probably didn't win a lot of games. I thought about quitting every day. I wanted to quit and I came call my mom. I've got to William Mary. Got a scholarship at William Mary. Okay? I grew up in Cambridge. Harvard's down the street, MIT's down the street, and none of it rubbed off on my ass. None of it. But I got into William Mary. They got me in full scholarship, playing for Lou Holtz. And they kept telling me, you'll never make it here. It was the biggest challenge. I flunked this biology test. Adversity came around. It is so hard. I got 1,600 in the SAT. That valedictorian helped people are hanging themselves because they're getting C's. Highest suicide rate per capita in the student body, at least at the time I was going. It is the great, toughest thing I've ever done. I call home, call my mom. I go, hey, I said I'm quitting. I'm coming home. I'm doing this no more. She goes, take your time. You didn't have a lot of money. She goes, I'll send you $100. When you get home, your ass is going in the Army. Oh, I think if Vietnam was going on at the time. That biology class didn't look that bad anymore. All of a sudden, this attitude adjustment. But no, when you really look at adversities, the biggest thing is looking at it. When a doctor tells you you're responding to a medicine, that's positive. So you want responders to adversity. When the doctor says your body's reacting to the medicine, it's not good. So you don't want to be around the reactors. And I'm not going to tell you that every football player on every team is positive or whatever, but the ones that are on the field better be. And if there wasn't a crisis, which I learned from Lou, I was going to create one on the field. Because give me the Novocaine when I go to the dentist. I want to see where we are. Here are the cards. Let's deal them out. I want to know what hand I'm playing. Because the crap is going to hit the fan. And I want a guy with a smile on his face and can't wait for the next play. Can't wait. I was at Syracuse in 1992. Paul Pasqualoni was the head coach. I want to tie these two things together, trust and adversity. Meet the players one-on-one, like I always started out doing. They only had 8 interceptions a year before. Secondary had not played as well. Fired the defensive backers. Most of the people I took their place were gotten fired. Okay? As a matter of fact, when I got to Wisconsin, Barry Alvarez fired every DB coach he had. Every one. Okay? And usually when you come in, they're going to repaint your office. So the people there paint the office. As they're coming, I go, leave the buckets. You may be back here pretty soon. When it was 1992, we go through the spring and had this one safety named Tim Sanquist. He runs 4.8, not very fast. I think some guys that play football in here was a safety for me. But he'd run 4.8 right through your teeth. He was a physical, violent football player and a great kid. Great kid. So this other kid that I went in there, there was another safety. He was a first team parade All-American. All-American out of DeMatha High School. Great high school football program. And the head coach, when he was an assistant, recruited him. All right? Okay, I got the politics. So, but there's this one kid, Tony Montemore, who was with the program. He quit the program. They brought him back. He was a special teams guy. He was about 5'10", 195 pounds. But he could run. State champion wrestler in New York. So, we're going through spring and I like it. But here was the key. Here's where trust comes in. The other safety, Tim Sanquist, comes in my office on the exit meetings we're going to have, and he knew what the lay of the land and how this thing works. He goes, Coach, he goes, I got to play with Tony Montemore. I got to play with Tony. He's telling me this. I mean, first of all, anybody that comes in, that's a good self-image and a confident. He's going to come in and back because he trusted his team. As a teammate, he trusted him. He goes, we have good chemistry. We know what we're doing back there. I trust this guy. Going to the staff meeting, Paul's going around, okay, give me the depth chart. Final depth chart going into the fall. I said, well, Tim Sanquist said free safety, and I knew what was going to happen because he wanted the All-American guy he recruited. And I love the kid, but he couldn't spell cat if he spot the C in the T. I mean, God bless him. He loved him as a person, but decision making, and so here was the deal. I said, I'm going to start Tony. Paul, see this ass? It's a whole lot smaller than it was yesterday. It has been chewed by the best coaches in America. Okay? And he is ripping my ass in front of the staff meeting. You're going to start Carlos Jackson and blah, blah. Coach, you're the head football coach, your decision. I said, but can I see you after this meeting? He said, fine. So I walked in, very professional. I said, Coach, here's the deal. Now, I never tell him about Timmy. Never brought Timmy into this. I had to believe and trust what I was seeing and dealing with him every day. And then, so I said, Paul, Tony Moore is our best, he gives us our best chance to win. He's a winner. I said, here's what we're going to do. Take my contract out. And we're going to rewrite it. If I don't win 10 games with Tony Moore, you can fire me. I told him that. This is called conviction, belief, trust. I said, you can fire me. It's a true story. Factual. I got 10 witnesses. All of them. Coaches that were there. As a matter of fact, Lou Anarumo, the defense coordinator for the Bengals, was my graduate assistant, helping me with the DBs. So I got a witness on this one. I said, Coach, that's how strong I feel about this. And I meant every word of it. So he's, okay. So that's a contract. 10 games. They only won 6 or 7 the year before. So I called Tony Moore in a meeting. I said, buddy, I just emptied the chamber for your ass. And you better come through. That's all I'm going to tell you. Because I believe in you. We won 10 games with that kid. Thank God. We beat Florida. Steve Spurrier, there's undefeated. Kevin knows, right? The great teams back in the early 90s. They came into the Dome. We beat them 21-0 in the first half. Beat them 42-21. I love the Spurrier making him throw his visor and all that shit, you know. I told my buddy, don't worry about him running the ball. This is a national TV game. He's going to go out there and throw it all over the place, right? That's exactly right. His ego is as big as this effing room. So, and we beat the living, and Tony gets an interception in the game. We beat Ohio State in the Hall of Fame. Won 10 games with this kid. We were 10-2. So, trust and adversity. Those are 2 critical areas in building a winning football team. I don't know where you can take this and what you do, but I do believe there's some carryover. I like to believe there is. Okay. The next thing, and I want to make sure I don't overdo myself here. Time management. This is for everybody. Nick Saban. People ask me, what was Nick like? I was his defensive coordinator at LSU. Okay? If you ever go back and you watch the LSU games on YouTube, and they're on there, like us versus Tennessee, the big game particularly, and he's in his headset yelling, that's me. That was me. It was the most grunt. I slept in the stadium for 6 straight weeks. Did not go home. It was his attention to detail. And people said, what's the number one? What's it like working with him? Here's the deal. One word. Accountability. There is no other better word. Accountability. Then you can go through it, attention to detail, so forth and so forth. But accountability. And everybody, I want to have somebody that I have to be accountable to. That steers me and keeps me on the right path. that the distractions become minimal. So having accountability, thank God you've got it. Especially if there's someone you respect. Because usually every time he chewed my ass, he was right. And it was well deserved. And took it like a man. But time management is critical. You know, Nick was not an hours guy. Belichick would be in the office till 3 in the morning. He hated that. He'd get in the 2 work days in football are Tuesday and Wednesday. They were the work days back in the day. But his practices were very short. Hour and 50 minutes was the body of his practice, besides stretching and the kicking game. That's a very short time. This coaches will stand on the field for 3 hours. Guys that played or have an idea about college football. Hour and 50 minutes. But that hour and 50 minutes, we squeezed 4 hours in an hour and 50 minutes. It was like moving, man. Drills, two spot drills, this and that. But time management, getting that across to the players was important. And I used to tell them, you know what I hated? But I just burned my ass. They come in and say, Coach, I haven't had enough time. You know, haven't had enough time to do this. Haven't had enough time. All right. So I bring them in. I go to the board. I said, how many hours do you sleep? I said, I'll tell you what. I want to need some help with the math here, though. Okay? Even though I got a William and Mary degree. So I'm going to help you with the math. Okay? So I said, I'm going to give you 8 hours. If you don't sleep, you can die. So that's critical. You got to sleep. Okay? What's the next thing? If you don't do this, you're going to die. What is it? Eat, right? You got to eat. Okay? I'm going to give you 3 hours, an hour at each meal. I know you don't get 8 hours of sleep, but that's okay. I'm going to give you 8. And I know you don't do 3 hours at every meal, but I'm going to give you 3. An hour at each meal. Okay? All right? Got to go to class. Well, for all you college people, even at William and Mary, the most busiest day was 3 hours. You know, 3-hour classes or an hour and a half on Tuesdays, Thursdays. I don't know what it's like now. Okay, but it was 3 hours mostly. So I said, okay, I'll give you 3 hours to go to class. Okay? And I know you don't have that every day. Okay? Football practice. All right, let's talk about football practice. By the time you come in the facility and by the time you leave on a Tuesday and Wednesday. Because on Thursdays and Fridays, right, Kevin? It's put the underwear on and go out and walk through. Okay? Walk through for dumbasses. They are. Right? So practice, 4 hours. And that is, right? What did you practice? What was your longest day?
Our longest day was probably about
3 and a half. Right? Yeah. But I'm going to give you 4. Okay? So we practice. You got to study. My rule was, how I made it at William and Mary, one of my buddies told me, he said, Phil, Sunday through Thursday, whatever you're doing in life, you're going to work 5 days a week, hopefully. Take 2 days off. So there's your 5-day work week. Sunday through Thursday. Do not put Friday in the Wednesday. He said, you won't make it here. They'll eat you alive. The professors want to flunk your ass. They do. 35% of the freshman class, not football, gone. Gone. So for each hour of class, give me 1 hour study in the night. That's what they told me. For every hour you got the next day, so if you got 3 hours, you got 3 hours study time. But the average is 2, then I'll give you 3. Okay? So we slept, we ate, we went to class, we practiced, we studied. What's left? Social life. Huh? Everybody, right? Yeah. I tell you what, come Friday and Saturday, no one could keep up with my ass. I did some of my best coaching hungover. We're at the Hall of Fame Bowl. I told my players come in, he goes, you better have good practice today. Coach is hungover right now. But I'm bringing some memories back there, aren't I? All right, so we studied, and so we had social life. All right, okay. A couple of hours of social. Now, what do I got here? I got 11, 18, 21, 2 hours of social life, 21, 23 hours. You got 24 in the day, and you're telling me that there's 1 hour left, and you're telling me you don't have time? You just wasted time coming to tell me you don't have time. So this is something that, from the coaching perspective, and I've been around the great coaches I've been around, Bill Dooley, Vince Dooley's brother at Virginia Tech. Bill Dooley, his organization, I'm sure Vince was the same way, was just spotless. And time management was so, everything was clockwork. When you walked in, this is what's going to happen every day. And you knew, so you could focus on the task at hand. And he was very consistent. Now you talk about adversity, 1986, I'm 33 years old. I left Minnesota, Coach Holtz was the coach. I left Minnesota because my buddy told me, he go to Notre Dame next year. And I know this, he wasn't taking my ass. I said, all right. So I get to Virginia Tech, I'm on the job. There's a, went 6-5 the first year. Next year, we lose we go down to Clemson and beat Clemson in Death Valley. Beat them 13, whatever. Hell of a game. We come in next Thursday, we're going to go to Syracuse in the Dome to play Syracuse. And he comes to the staff meeting because I want a staff meeting Thursday after practice, and this never happened in his whole career as a head coach. He was so structured with his time. Comes in, his southern drawl, he goes, I'm no longer the head coach at Virginia Tech. I turned to my buddy and go, are we fired? Yes, we were. He's going to sue the school, they breach your contract, the AD, whatever. We got a whole season to play, and at that time, it was unusual to let you do it, but we got a whole season to play. He goes down and tells the team, and they're living. They love this guy. They trusted this guy. They're living. They vowed we're going to win out. I wear this Peach Bowl ring for humility. It's my only ring I will put on. We won 10 games, beat NC State in the Peach Bowl, and we were out of a job. You talk about adversity. Woo! Where are we going? Well, I got a chance to get to the University of Michigan at the time. But I'm going to close and wrap this up. And, Lou Holtz was a very enthusiastic, believed in what you were doing. Frank Beamer, great loyalty, tremendous loyalty. When I look at these coaches that I work for, Wright and Webster's dictionary should be their names under what they did best, because they were the best at it. Joe Tiller knew his football teams better than anybody else. Quick story, and I'll let you know. Joe Tiller calls me in the office. He goes, I had an All-American safety named Stu Schweiger, played in the league for 10 years. Great player for us. We had really good, I was at Purdue with a guy named Joe Tiller. He turned that program around. He fired his secondary coach, hired me because they weren't as productive. So we're undefeated. We had just beaten Notre Dame. I think we got to play Arizona next, and then we got to go play Penn State. He comes in my office, he goes, I don't like your backup safety. I said, Joe, I don't like him either. What the hell? He goes, well, here's the problem. I didn't know this. He goes, I got to suspend Stu Schweiger because he had some DUI in public in the summer. And he's looking at Penn State, and they weren't very good. So he goes, he's going to do it for the Penn State. He goes, I'm going to give you, just talk about trust in me, and I got to trust my eyes and what I'm seeing. He goes, I'm giving you 3 quarterbacks. On Sunday, and you pick one out, he's going to be your starting safety in 2 weeks. Can everybody appreciate this? Okay? I said, you're the boss. So I'm out there Sunday, and one kid, really good athlete, there was this 6'2"ish 3, 5 flat, 4'9". He timed it with a calendar. I mean, but he was brilliant. You talk about processing information, steel trap. Kyle Smith was his name. I said, Coach, this is my guy. I got 2 weeks. I'm going to take the poorest talent of the 3, but from the neck up, we can win with him. Okay? So in 2 weeks, we get him ready. We go and play Penn State, beat Penn State with the kid. Wins the game. We win the game. The next year, he was a full-time starter at safety on another good Purdue team. So that, I just, again, I don't want to take much oxygen and too much of your time, but I hope maybe this has helped a little bit. But, you know, these are the things here that really are probably the two most important experiences I've had playing, coaching in this business, and in the business of winning. And don't forget, win is what's important now. Stay in the moment. Stay in the moment. And if you do as a coach, your players will too. So, I thank you. Appreciate it. Appreciate your time.
Yeah, no, it's good. Look, I mean, it's what's funny about this is like, look, trust. I mean, that's how we started out. I'm asking you guys to trust us. You know, you're giving me your all your sub-haulers, your contractors. I'm helping you handle your payment, your invoicing, all that. Like, if you don't trust us, this is never going to work, right? Diversity, we're going to screw stuff up. I'm telling. I mean, there's plenty of you in here that worked with us for a while. We screwed it up. Omar can attest to this. You know, but when we screw something up, Omar, what do I do? We come talk. We fix it. We come talk about it. Because I don't.
It's not like you screwed up.
Well, it's a problem, right? And it kind of gets what you're saying, right? Again, but if we don't have a level of trust, we can't fix it. So like, we've had plenty of conversations. We worked through whatever the problem was, and then this time management thing. I mean, this is not easy.